That game drove me crazy.
Have I spent too much time at Cracker
No.
Barrel?
You
I love
definitely
it.
know your stuff here. Whoops.
Well, guys, this just in. Fox can confirm that President Trump will go on patrol tonight in our nation's capital with law enforcement and military personnel at his side. President Trump broke the news today in a radio interview, and we expect more reportable details shortly. Shannon, an incredible development. We know that the Vice President and the Secretary of Defense walked through Union Station earlier, highlighting the troublesome situation there. Tonight, the President.
Very interesting, because normally the streets of D.C. at night, we do not generally run around there in certain sections. I'll be very interested to see which sections of the city he actually goes to. But I think this is just kind of putting the cherry on top of the sundae that they want to show there are ways to clean things up in a city. And I think they're very much signaling that this is potentially coming to other blue cities and blue states, which the left is very worried about.
This also demonstrates, in my opinion, Joe, that the president, as always, is seeking to serve the American people.
Yep.
This is not, as the libs claim, a king federalizing D.C. No, this is someone who cares deeply about the safety of those residents there, and walking among them, he's proving them.
Always judge somebody, Emily, not on their words, but their actions, especially a president. And Joe Biden last year at this time was on a beach in Delaware for an extended period of time. Trump, from what I have seen, has not taken an August vacation. Maybe he plays a little golf here and there, but here he is owning the news cycle once again. The bottom line is that 91% of D.C. residents think that crime is a serious or top concern in that city. We've all been there. We've all gone through Union Station. I would tell you that even where I work, 16th and K, right near the White House, I wouldn't go outside at past 9 o'clock at night. And that is our nation's capital, the greatest country in the world. And it cannot be acceptable that it has a higher crime rate by 6 times over than Peru, Lima, the capital there. And yeah, obviously cities throughout this country. If Washington, D.C. was a state, it would have the highest homicide rate per capita. That cannot continue anymore. And Donald Trump's going to go out there tonight. Is he going to arrest anybody? No, of course not. But it's a show of force. And that's what Trump is doing right now. And Democrats, they want to defend this. They want to criticize this. It's like being anti-cancer, like being the way they are talking about crime being A-OK in Washington, D.C., when we know that's not the case.
It's a show of solidarity, to Joe's point, Doctor, that the president is not levying these decrees from inside a gated White House. He is out there with the other residents saying, your safety is important to me.
Well, I think people who live amongst a lot of these crime-ridden cities are watching this very closely. I mean, I was just in New York all day with my kids yesterday, and it's really difficult being around all of the crime. We have the homeless constantly going. We have police. We have people who are in verbal altercations. It's really upsetting. And a lot of these cities across our country are just failing. And so the president is going out, coming out of his safe little bubble of the White House to show people with law and order, we can get to a safer America. And I think a lot of people this resonates with. A lot of people voted last year for the safety of their communities. And I think he's just going on with this. And we will start seeing more and more of this happening in blue cities all across the country.
Lisa, what a stark contrast to the prior administration. I mean, to Joe's point about him just being on the beach, could you ever, this is what an incredible president we have that actually serves and is among the American people.
I think it's like triumphant, right? Like he conquered the 2024 election and now he's conquering the streets of Washington, D.C. And I'll just remind, I mean, really, like that's how I view it. And then, you know, even, you know, like Dems want to be like, oh, well, crime's down. Yeah. Well, the Department of Justice is investigating D.C. officials with concerns that they cooked the books. And by the way, a D.C. police commander was suspended and under investigation for that very concern. So those numbers are probably a lie. Also, D.C. is so unlike any other city because the Constitution grants Congress authority over Washington, D.C. President Trump has the authority over the D.C. National Guard, and then the Home Rule Act gives him the authority over the Washington, D.C. Metropolitan Police. So he is within the, you know, the rules of the law. And to me, this is like conquering D.C. Like, look what I can do.
Yeah, Shannon, you host Fox News Sunday, obviously in D.C. What have the politicians there told you about their staffs and their personal experiences and how they're, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's heartbreaking. We think it wasn't that long ago that an intern was killed in D.C., somebody who was a staff, you know, working for staff on Capitol Hill. Yeah. And we all have stories of our own or a coworker or a friend or somebody we know on Capitol Hill who has been a crime victim. It is unfortunately common there in D.C. Now, there are those who are there who are protesting who don't like what they feel like is a takeover by the feds. But look at what you're seeing from the mayor and the police chief there in D.C. They've been relatively cooperative. Like, we could use more help on the streets here. And the fact is that so many of the people who are in D.C. are tourists. And I love that they want to come and celebrate their city. And when you see them there, you see their innocence and you're thinking, ooh, I need to nudge them away from doing this or that. And I'll have people who are coming to visit town, like, where should I go? At what time should I stop being out? That kind of thing. They're actual concerns for people. So I think we should want our city, which is the capital of the world in a lot of ways, to be completely safe and welcoming for anybody who wants to come visit.
And I can't wait for the photo ops with President Trump tonight. You know, law and order. I can't wait to see what happens.
USA.
What will he wear?
Yeah.
Is there going to be like a law enforcement motif? Is it going to be a suit with a hat? I don't know.
Bulletproof vest saying, Mr. President.
All of these details we will bring you as we learn them. And of course, that will be really an exciting evening indeed. Hey, everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.